Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Inside Scoop with Alex and Jeff. I am Alex Dingman.
I'm Jeff Doss. Let's do this, guys. All right, so we are super excited. We have another awesome week, just a podcast for you guys. And again, we want to remind you guys that we are sponsored by the Virtual Fight Tour, and they had an awesome show, and we were excited to we're going to share a little bit about that, I'm sure, on our live show, and also a little bit next week. But man, their next one is coming up February 20th, right? And so that's going to be an awesome show. Jesse just put out just a pre-video about he's trying to just showcase people that maybe aren't always showcased. So I'm excited to see this next thing. So, Alex, good to see you, my friend. I know you've had a crazy trip and a crazy week. And
yeah, it was something else. I'll tell you this. So, like I told the listeners, see the last week or the week before, I think it was like 2 weeks ago, that my grandmother passed away. So that's just where we were. That's why we're doing the show another day later.
Right.
Because I was in Arizona for a funeral. Family's not even from Arizona, right? But my grandparents retired there. My grandfather set everything up, so that's where everything's at. Everything's in Arizona. You know what's interesting, though? I think I gave like a little snippet of the story of how my family came to America.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yes.
Yeah, all that's wrong. All that's wrong.
All right. So I'm sure we'll have to share that tonight later on the.
So none of it was even close to right. What I ended up figuring out was, I mean, there's other families that have this kind of thing where they're just kind of like, like there's like grudges. But there was like I wasn't even allowed to know people existed.
Oh, all right. Wow.
Yeah. I lived a half a mile from my karate school. I didn't know they existed.
Wow.
My cousins.
That's
uncle,
crazy.
Stuff like that. Like
yeah.
Stop.
Yeah.
Like, things like that, right?
Wow.
So, yeah, I'm literally, like, after this funeral, I'm there, like, a notebook. My cousin and I were there with notebooks, like, no, wait a minute. Go back.
Yeah.
And because it's Sicily, everything's got some kind of mob tie. There's always these stories somehow.
So we're that should be like a new segment that we'll have to do on the show, is you sharing those stories about that, maybe like a short little segment every week.
Yeah, there's one I could probably share. I'm not gonna do it today. But
no, let's not today.
I'll do it another time.
We got an awesome guest today, and let's go ahead and introduce him. We got the president of WAKO USA Kickboxing, Rob. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great, guys. And Jeff and Alex, thanks for inviting me to your podcast here.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for being here, man. So, Rob, we've gotten a chance to meet each other a few times. Now we see each other every week. But so we talked a little bit about, your history as to how because now you're the president of WAKO USA, mainly the ring. Well, the president of WAKO USA, you had the ring sports section of the kickboxing. Do I have it right? Is that all right?
Yeah, basically I'm the president of, all of WAKO USA. We have two directors. We have, Bob and Jared Liker, who are in charge of the tatami sports, the mat sports. And we have Justin Wiley, who is our ring sport director. And, then we have a couple coaches on both sides that are very important to the organization. But yeah, I'm the president for the whole organization. And, as we get to know each other better and work together, we're starting to see the organization grow more.
Yeah, definitely seeing a lot of announcements coming up and new things. I know that there's, this year they're trying to get the trials and everything going again. How long have you been involved with WAKO, though?
Well, the first tournament I went to was back in 1997 in Poland.
Okay.
And, I went there with a world champion fighter, Jerry Rome.
Yes,
And,
yes, heard that name.
yeah, we went together. I worked his corner, and he didn't do very well in that because there was a lot of miscommunication, with the team and what was going on and everything. When I went down there, I saw, one person running the kickboxing part of the organization and not really knowing what he was doing. And, he had fighters in 3 rings, and, people were going crazy, and there was no organization what was going on. I really felt embarrassed as an American,
Right.
going to this big tournament. I mean, the tournament was amazing, 60, 70 countries, people fighting for 5 days straight. I was like, man, this is awesome,
Yeah.
But as an American, something like really hit me where, I want to contribute more and make our country proud and make, show what type of fighters and what type of talent we have. So, that was my first time at WAKO. And then I was asked to coach a U.S. team in 2000 in France. And then I really became like the head coach in 2006.
Okay.
I went in 2005 as assistant coach to Ray Thompson, Stephen Thompson.
Yeah.
And that next year, those guys went off and did other things. I stuck with it, because I saw the vision of WAKO. And I just felt the competition was at the highest level. And that's what really inspired me because, I want to fight the guys that are at the highest level. And not only that, but I want to represent my country. That's what I really liked about it the most is, fighting other countries. And, not that I have any, animosity towards anybody. I just want to prove that, we're the best,
Right.
So even though it's been a long, hard road because, after being in WAKO since 2006, bringing teams every year over there, for the junior championships, for the senior championships. I mean, we haven't won a lot of medals.
Right.
And, when we first went to WAKO in those early days, it was kind of like the Wild West. I mean, we had no representation there. And every time there was something that I felt wasn't right, I wasn't able to talk to anybody. I wasn't able to protest, argue. We just got screwed.
Yeah.
And, so like my mentality was, okay, I got to go back and get better guys. We got to get better. We got to get stronger. And 2006, I think we brought 3 fighters and we won 2 medals in the junior championships. We won a bronze and a silver.
Yeah.
2 out of 3. And then 2007, I thought, okay, let's go back with our senior team now. I had 12 fighters that went overseas with us. And, every day we were losing fights. We lost like 6 split decisions. And then finally it was like the 12th guy fighting. And it was one of my students. And, he pounded on this guy from Macedonia. And the guy was bleeding. We knocked his mouthpiece out a couple times. I mean, there was no doubt that we won this fight.
Right.
I mean, me and Justin Wiley were in the corner saying, finally, after 11 losses, we got this one.
Yeah.
And sure enough, they didn't give it to us.
Wow.
And I lost my mind.
Yeah.
I jumped from the top of the ring over the scorer's head. And I went to the head table because in WAKO, it's something that I really like is that, they have a judge, an official that kind of oversees the officials for the ring. Mm-hmm. So you have one guy watching the judges, and then he tallies the scores and he makes sure that everything was done correctly, the math or whatever. Back then, because it wasn't electronic, it was about the math.
Yeah.
So I walked up to the table and I said, sir, I said, I'm the coach for Team USA. Can I please see those scores? And he just kind of went like this to me, like shoved, like, get out of here. And I said, excuse me, sir. I said, can I please see those scores? And he takes the scores and he shows them to me and he rips them up in half and he puts them in the garbage. And like when that happened,
wow,
I just lost my mind. I had like every swear would come out of my mouth that I knew. And in about a matter of seconds, I had like guys all over me. And I didn't know who any of these guys were. People were grabbing me. I was pushing guys, and the guy walks up to me and goes, please, Mr. American, please calm down. And I said, I started swearing, this is BS. And, I mean, there's no way we lost that fight. There's no way. And the guy goes, listen, it don't matter. Okay, these guys are Spetsnaz and they will kill you. You're not in America. So
Yeah,
please,
what country were you in?
I was in Portugal. And
Wow.
yeah, I guess I got in the argument with the guy who was the sports minister of Russia, supposedly the second highest guy to Putin. I guess I don't know, but at the time I didn't care. I mean, I was calling him all kinds of names, and like I said, I wanted to smack him, because after paying thousands of dollars, spending all the time there, 8 days, every trip is 8 days, and here we finally win a fight. I mean, there was no doubt about it, and we got ripped off. And what I learned from that experience was that, that one, we had to change our president because, our president wasn't there and he wasn't, he really didn't care about what was going on with the organization. I think.
Right. Oh, the overall president of WAKO.
Yeah, at the time. And then I said, too, we have to get some officials because we have no representation in the back room. So like with rules and questions and things, as a coach, I really couldn't even get to the people that I needed to talk to, and, so that next year we started building the organization with coaches and officials, and we're still way behind. I mean, in getting officials, right. We have a couple of good guys. We have one A-class official who's on the Pan American board. He's also on the world board of officials. Awesome. But we still don't have a whole group of officials, and we need more officials. And then the second, we still need to build our talent pool. I mean. The thing is, over there in Europe, a lot of those countries are competing against each other. And, if you drive 2 hours from Chicago, you're in Indiana. I mean, you drive 2 hours from France, you're in Germany, or you're in Switzerland or whatever. I mean, all those guys are within 4 or 5 hours of travel, and they can compete against their national teams, which are funded mostly by their government. So
and we don't have that at all.
Yeah, we try to fight against each other. We fight against sometimes Mexico and Canada, and I mean. It's hard for us to get. I've been bringing teams overseas. We just brought the Polish national team over, and we beat them. We actually beat them 3-2. And
awesome.
it was an incredible fights. When they came to my gym and were warming up, I didn't think we were going to win a fight. Because these guys, I've seen them fight overseas. They were medalists. The one guy they brought won the World Games. I mean, you're talking about like the 8 toughest guys in the world.
Whoa!
And this guy won it. And I'm just saying to myself, man, these guys are beasts.
Yeah.
But, our fighters actually came through, and they were close fights, but we beat them 3 out of 5. So,
hey, Rob, let's circle back just a little bit, just so people know, especially our listeners that maybe don't know what WAKO is. Can you explain what WAKO stands for, and also the style that you were talking about that you coach mostly?
Okay. So basically, WAKO is for the World Association of Kickboxing Organizations. And right now it's considered to be the largest kickboxing organization in the world.
Yes.
They've got over 122 countries. They've got several million members worldwide. WAKO basically has 7 rule styles, that have been approved by the IOC. They have 4 that are on the mat, which is kick light, continuous, point fighting, and forms. And in the ring, we have 3, which is full contact, which is like the old school kickboxing above the waist.
Yeah, like the PKA style.
Yeah. And they're still doing it pretty big in Europe. We haven't been really doing it here in the United States. It's hard to find a team.
Yeah.
But I think as we get these tournaments going, there's more guys that are coming from the karate backgrounds that want to fight that style. So we'll see what happens in the future. But we also have low kick, which is basically above the knees. You can kick above the knees, inside, outside thigh, all the way up. And then we have K1, which is basically you can kick the whole leg. You can't elbow, but you can knee with one. You can knee, and you can, if you clinch, you can clinch and
with
knee
one arm.
with one.
Yeah.
And you can spin.
So it's like the amateur version of like Glory or what we would see, right?
Right. It's pretty close to Glory. I think Glory might let you catch a kick for a second. We don't catch kicks.
Right.
We can redirect the kicks, but we can't catch them and hold them. So, but I like our K1 style because of that. I really don't like the clinching. I like people fighting in the pocket. I like the speed. I like quick little steps, angle steps in and out. And, I think when you're watching it as a viewership sport, I think it's great because, it's fast paced and, you don't get guys falling down, grabbing, getting back up again. It's just constant motion, and you have to be able to fight on the inside and the outside. You got to be able to move your feet, and
Right.
you got to be able to use all those weapons. So
yeah.
So basically, we have 7 rule styles, and that's about it.
Awesome. And so, for explaining to other people, every other year, the way WAKO works is that every other year is a world championship. But so the odd years are the adults and the even years are the juniors, correct?
That's correct.
Yes.
Yep. So basically, in the even years, we'll have our junior world championships, and usually we have our continental championships. So
right. So the Pan Ams.
Yeah, our Pan Ams, and then on the odd years we'll have our senior championships, and in between that there might be our country tournaments every year. Our national tournaments to make the team.
Right.
And they're getting bigger every year. Before I used to beg guys and pay for guys to go overseas and represent us, and now people are seeing the value in it because when you get to fight internationally, it just gives you more experience, and it gives you see things that people do and warm up and train that you wouldn't see here in the United States. So
right.
I've been to 30 countries. I've been to the World Championships since basically 2005 every year. And
wow.
I've been to every championship since 2005.
Wow.
And you learn and you see and you pick up techniques and even just little things. I mean, I can watch one thing and then all of a sudden create 5 drills for it, that somebody's doing. And it's just great. It's great.
That's a good coach right there.
That's right.
Yeah. I think the fighters, last year in Bosnia in 2019, we had our biggest team, and we had 23 fighters that went for kickboxing. We've always had big tatami teams.
Yeah.
We've always had really good tatami teams. It seems like America has always been, when we would go for the medals, I was hoping I could contribute with 1 or 2 medals, but the tatami guys would always do, whichever team it was, whether it was, the coaches in the past like Don Rodriguez or the coaches, Raymond Daniels or, now the Lakers. I mean, whatever team we bring there, it seems like they're always medaling and doing very well.
Yeah.
And the kickboxing end is starting to catch up now. We had 4 medals out of 23 fighters in the last championship. And, but the 23 fighters that went there, a couple of them won fights. And the ones that lost were very close too. But, some of our guys had maybe 3 fights or 5 fights or 10 fights. And we're fighting guys, they had maybe 50 fights or 100 fights or 200 fights. And, we're hanging with them. We just got to get more experience and we got to get more opportunities. And I think that's where Kick Light's going to help out our
yeah, I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
So I was talking to somebody about that, Rob, and tell me what you think about this. So kind of what you mentioned, it kind of seems like, all right, worldwide, especially in Europe and in Eastern Europe, the full contact kickboxing, the culture is just on another level. And I was talking to somebody about this, and they would say, well, because they don't have other sports that we do. If you go to Chicago, it's nice out. You're going to see 100 guys playing basketball. You're never going to have that. But you'll see they'll just go fight somewhere. They'll just go spar. They'll just go do this. What do you say about that?
Well, I think that's true. I think there's a couple of reasons why it makes it really tough for us. One, like you said, our biggest competition, even as a martial arts school owner, is getting students from other sports.
Yep.
It seems like our best athletes, which I don't blame them, they're getting paid billions of dollars. But our best athletes are playing, football and basketball and baseball and hockey, and they're doing other things, soccer. They're doing other things, and we usually get the kids that come into our school that don't have a lot of confidence. Maybe they've been picked on, and we turn those kids into confident individuals. And people that maybe turn out to be fairly good competitors. Yeah. But I think that's one of the reasons. The other reason is that like I said, those countries are so close to each other that they can build their team inside their little country, and then go a couple hours and fight a whole nother country, and they can do that.
Yeah,
do that every month. they can do it every couple of weeks. There's tournaments every week over there in Europe.
Yeah. Oh, we lost you there. We lost your.
Yeah, not hearing you.
Yeah, we're not hearing
Rob.
you now. You got muted somehow. There you go.
Yeah, you're good now.
Sorry about that.
It's
So
all right.
that's what So that's what makes it tough for us is that those guys are competing every week in an international tournament, and they can do team-on-team fights, and it's easy for us. Like I said, you drive 4 hours. I might be in like Utah. I mean,
Right.
where's Team Utah?
The state versus state competition is just as big, is pretty much the equivalent of their country versus country. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so yeah, I was just going to say one thing, Alex. Yeah. Go ahead, Rob. Go ahead.
I was going to say the third thing is that, we have very difficult government regulation in our sport.
Yeah, right. I
mean, we don't have promoters that can make money doing this. No. And not only that, but the pressure of dealing with the athletic commissions with all the paperwork and all the hoops we got to jump through. And we're dealing with people that, I don't know, if their butt's not on the line like ours is, when we're a promoter, it makes it very difficult to do events. And if we can't do events, our athletes can't compete. And, that's the hardest thing for us, I think, is, lack of talent with the athletes, lack of competition. And, it's just tough. It's tough, but we do have some really good fighters. And I think the team that will win in our championships in February, they have to go to Russia at the end of the year. They have to place in the top 8. And I think, we're going to have our girls' side's going to be very good. I can see all 3 of our girls getting to the World Games. Our guys' side's a little tougher, but, we'll see who gets out of Nashville here next month. And,
awesome.
Hopefully we'll have 3 or 4 that can qualify for the World Games.
That's great. All right. So explain a little bit about your school and what you do and where that's located. And then just, I also want to touch on what the World Games is like, the World Combat Games, once you're at the end, because some people don't know about that.
Okay. So like in my school, we're located in Huntley, Illinois. I started martial arts back when I was in college. I came out of high school. I played 3 or 4 sports a year, and probably wasn't good enough to get to college, or at least didn't understand the path how to do it. So I went to college. The first week I was at school, I met a guy that was just came back from Okinawa. He was in the GI Bill, and we started training martial arts. And I was really enamored with the kickboxing because back then ESPN had it on every Saturday night.
That's right.
That's really what I wanted to do. So, we started training in that. And I think I fought my first fight in like 30 days after I started. I was supposed to work the corner for some guy. He didn't show up, and I got talked into fighting.
Wait, stop. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Wow.
30 days after you started training in martial arts, you're in the ring.
Yeah. So I knew a jab, a cross, and a front kick. That's all I did.
You would never, and that's the thing, is you would never let anybody do that today.
Oh, no. My guys, they got trained for sometimes years, and even like, I don't even turn my guys pro until they got 30 fights,
Right.
So, I mean, see a lot of guys turn pro after 2 or 3 fights, and then they don't have the experience, and they can't get the fights because they're pro now.
Right.
So I believe in a big amateur career. I believe if you don't fight internationally, you shouldn't go pro. I mean, because you don't, everybody says they're a world champion here, but they've never really fought against world champion people.
Right.
I mean, you fight against the rest of the world in a tournament like that where there's 65 countries. I mean, you really can see how good you are.
Yeah.
And
so what do you?
Basically, I started in kickboxing. Then we ended up getting my black belts up in in Okinawa karate, and kind of a combination of different things. I mean, we were doing kind of mixed martial arts without really mixing them together. And when I started, I was doing kickboxing, I was doing judo, and I was doing, it was kind of a mixture of Shorin-ryu, Kaju Kembo, and Shido-ryu. And, I really, I tried the point fighting. I kind of liked it, but I wasn't very good at it. So, the only thing I was good at in Chicago, because in Chicago they had the groin kicks. I really liked that. back in the 80s and 90s. That's the only thing that would save me because I fought heavyweight and I was like 6 foot tall. Guys were 6'2" or 6'3" or whatever. But we ended up getting thrown out of the Midwest circuit back in 1992. My brother and Larry Tangston got into a big scrum, and
All right.
we got blamed for it, but it wasn't our fault, and some of those guys apologized afterwards. But so then after that, I was like, you know what, I can't do the point fighting. I can't. It was really political in Chicago. It was hard, and we'd go there every week and pay our money, and we'd never we'd never win first, But so we just started blasting people, and it got to the point where we're like, let's just go kickbox. And that's what we did then from like 1992, I think, all the way until now. And I've had easily over probably 1,000 fighters fight in the ring, and I know I've had over 100 champions,
Wow.
So,
anybody in the Wisconsin or Illinois area, if you're nearby Huntley, you got to check out Z's Martial Arts too. It's a big, beautiful school with a ring in the studio as well. So
nice.
Yeah, he's got all the
tremendous point fighter showing up every once in a while.
He's all right. He's okay.
Yeah. So,
hey,
but then after that, as far as the World Games go and everything, the 2017, I got to coach our U.S. team, with a couple of the other guys. Omari Boyd was the only. We had four. We had four people that qualified. Caitlin Young, who's a really good fighter out of Minnesota. We had Jerome Ward. He was a Iowa State wrestler. We had Omari Boyd, and then we had Ashley Cord. And Ashley trains out of Colorado. And she actually fought really good. She lost a split decision. Omari was the only one that was able to medal from that tournament. But it was an amazing thing, and I'm really looking forward to it when it comes to the United States next year, 2022 in July. The World Games will be in Birmingham, Alabama.
Yeah. So now they do that every 4 years, right?
Yeah,
that's the World Comic Games.
Yeah, they do the World Games every 4 years. I don't know how often they do the World Combat Games.
Okay.
It might be also 4 years. From what I understand, the World Combat Games were supposed to be in Kazakhstan. Yeah. And I think they were doing mat sports and full contact with that one. Full contact, which is above the waist kickboxing. And I don't know what mat sport they're doing, continuous or point fighting, I think, for the World Combat Games.
Okay, because I know
it got canceled, and we really didn't have anybody that was going to fight full contact. So, I haven't really paid attention to that. And with everything that we had going on, I mean, I'm really focused on the World Games for us because it's in our home country, and I'm really trying to get athletes that can represent our country in that. It's going to be on NBC. It's going to have a lot of viewers, and it's going to really help promote our sport.
And what state did you say that was in?
That's going to be in Birmingham, Alabama.
All right. And when's the date for that?
That's going to be July 2022.
Okay.
I'm not sure. I think it's like July 13th or something, or the second week of July.
Wow, that's awesome. That's awesome. And so when did you become the president of WAKO for USA?
2013.
Okay, 2013. And so, I mean, a lot of things have changed since then, right? I mean, you've done just talk about some of the different things that have changed and how, you're building towards that.
Well, for the ring sports side, we've started a coaching program.
Okay.
We've modeled our program under what the Olympic program, coaching program should be. And we've just promoted our first 15 coaches to bronze level. As far as the tatami goes and the ring sports, it's been hard for me to grasp the tatami because I don't participate in it I
Right.
used to, when I first started martial arts. But I'm so busy trying to handle and build the business of WAKO, making sure that we can pay our bills, make sure that, everything legally is, upstanding, and then putting the time into our tournaments and, handling our fighters and stuff. It's kind of been running almost as two organizations, but, over the last year now, we set up our board of directors and, we're embracing, that into the business. So we,
Awesome.
we can get membership because, USA, USA Boxing and USA Wrestling, they've got several thousand, 50,000 members.
Yeah, they do.
We're looking to build that membership up. And, I want to make everything legitimate. I mean, I don't care who people are. I just want the best people. I want to see our best competitors, our best athletes. I want to see our best coaches. And, the people that know me, I'm not afraid to stand alone, I don't really, I'm not going to say I just don't kiss anybody's ass. I mean, it's, I don't care. I don't care if you're the janitor or you're the president. I treat everybody the same way. And,
awesome.
If you're great and you should be on the team, you should be, getting sponsored. You should be, doing it, and you have to do your job. If everybody's doing their job, then there's no problems.
Right.
Well, let's talk.
Yeah,
let's
go ahead,
talk
Alex.
a little bit about that, Rob. Let's be honest, Rob. We would be remiss if you didn't mention a little bit of the stories that you and I were talking about before. And I was asking you, like, hey, so tell me what it's like when you really started going overseas. Like, what are some interesting things that happened?
Yes.
You got it. You got to tell me. You got to retell that. That was one of the most amazing things I've ever heard.
Well, the first time.
And don't hold back, by the way.
Okay. I mean, it's a long story, though, but I mean, because there's so many parts to it. I mean, it was a crazy experience. I mean, the first time that I went overseas was, I think, 1995. We brought a team to fight in Ukraine. And if I had big enough fighters, we would have fought the Klitschkos because the Klitschkos actually worked the corner against us,
Wow.
But it was a crazy thing. The first night we got there, I brought supposedly world champions, our best guys that we had that I could find. And, we fought in this like ice cold nightclub. And, they had no heat. It was like 20 degrees in there. We could see our breath and everything, and nobody could get warmed up. And they gave us a closet, basically like a 6x6 closet where we had 6 guys in there, basically standing there, trying to stay warm and warm up. And it was just a terrible night. The food was like red soup and stale bread and salami. And it just it was terrible. So the first night, we get off the plane. The second night we're fighting. It wasn't really, we didn't really do very well. I think we won 1 fight. We tied 1 fight and we lost 4.
Wow.
And, they came up to me because we agreed, for everyone to get paid like 30 grand for the trip. And, they gave me 15,000 up front. And I told them that I wanted the 15,000 when I get on the plane, the cash, you need to pay me right when I get on the plane. Yeah. And because we didn't do so well the first night, the guy that was promoting it came up to us and he's like, you said you had champions and, these guys got creamed and everything. I said, dude, we're fighting in 20-degree weather. We got off the plane. We ate, red soup and salami today. What the hell's going on? Feed us and, give us an arena that is warm, we'll do better.
Right.
And he goes, here, take this money. It's $3,000. And I said, I don't want that money. I said, you need to give it to me on the plane. And the guy goes, no, take the money or you're not going to get the money. And I was like, in my head, I'm going, well, these guys are going to give me the money. Then they're going to roll me later, and then they're going to say they gave me the money.
Wow.
I want the money. You give it to me when I'm on the plane. And
yeah.
we went back and forth. And finally, the guy gave me the money. So I took the money and I put it in a suitcase. I went to my brother's room because he was staying in a different room. And I put a little slit in his suitcase. I rolled up the money and I hid it in his suitcase. Figured if they went through my room, they were going to find it. If they stopped me, I wouldn't have it on me.
You would think they might go in and just rob you.
Yeah, for sure.
Jeez.
So that's why I didn't want the money until I got on the plane. But the guy insisted that I take the money now, or I'm not going to get it possibly. And I had contracts with all the fighters, and I was afraid I would end up having to pay these guys if if they didn't pay me. So that night I went back to the room and I said, I had a meeting with everybody, and I'm like, dude, I go, these guys are laughing at us. I go, they think we suck. I go, you guys are Americans, and though it doesn't matter what the conditions are, what the hell's going on here. Everybody needs to step up their game. I mean, I don't care. Fight to the death. I mean, we're here. Let's kill these guys. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know if you remember Jose Santiago, but Jose was a great point fighter, kind of, and he was a world champion kickboxer at that time. He was fighting.
Arlene Lemus, right?
Yeah, he was a black belt under Arlene Lemus, right? And he looks at me, he goes, "Are they laughing at me?" And I said, "Dude, I'm laughing at you." I go, "Look at your face." He blew his nose, and his eye was like half shut. And I go, "You know better than to blow your nose, dude." I go, "Come on." I go, "Look at you. Now we got to get that swelling down. We got 2 days to do it." Because we had 3 fights in 7 days there. And they were all 5-round kickboxing matches against their national team. I mean, they had great fighters. And so Jose was really pissed off, like he took it like serious, like they were laughing at him. So the next day we go into fight, and it's the biggest night of the fights. It was in their circus in downtown Ukraine. And they had like all their government people there, like the soldiers and the colonels and everybody else. And they made this great introduction. I mean, I'll never forget it. We were at the top of the circus where the trapeze artists come out. And then all of a sudden the curtains open and the lights go red, white, and blue. And they start playing AC/DC. And we just come walking down those stairs, and you see 3,000 people.
Good entrance.
Yeah, it was pretty cool, So we walk in and we get ready to fight. And the first fight we lost, and Jose was our second fight. And Jose walks into the ring. And the referee tells him to come to the center of the ring. And Jose's like, "No, just get the fight going." And the referee's like, "Come to the center of the ring." And Jose's like, "Get the fucking thing going. I don't care. Get it going." And the guy's like, "Come to the center of the ring." And Jose's like, "You laughing at me? You think this is funny?" And he's going on. And the referee looks at the head general, and the general goes, "Just fight." So he goes, "Fight." So Jose walks out and kicks him right in the nuts. And the guy goes down. And as he was down, he punches him in the head.
My God.
Grabs him, and the referee's trying to control him. He's like, "Get your hands off me. Get your hands off me before I knock you out." And he's screaming at the guy, and the referee's trying to control him. And we're yelling, "Jose, calm down. Okay, you know where we're at? We're not in America, dude. Relax."
Right.
He's like swearing. He's like, "Screw that. I'm going to kick this dude's ass. They're laughing at me. And I want to say they weren't laughing at you. I just said that, but he took it personal.
He took it really personal. Oh, man.
So the next thing, the referee starts the fight and he tells him to come to the center, and Jose refuses to go to the center again. And the guy tells him to go, and they go right at each other, and Jose kicks him right in the nuts again. I mean, just right off as hard as he could.
Wow.
Chicago Point karate tournaments, kicks him right in the groin. The dude drops again. And the referee just tried to grab his hand to take a point away from him, and Jose refuses to let him, grab him. So the referee just goes to the center of the ring and he takes a point away, and everything calms down again. And they start again. Jose walks out and he lifts his leg up like he was going to kick him and throws a right cross and drops him. And the dude and that was it. We won the first fight, And our whole team fought great that night. I actually thought we won 4 out of the 6 matches. They split it 3-3. And it was because of Jose got us going, But anyways, it was a crazy thing. When I was there, I was trying to work out a deal to do like the first MMA match with Russia versus the United States.
Okay.
And when I went there, I was going to meet with their boss. And the night that we came back from the fights, I didn't really know who we were dealing with, but we were driving home. It was about, 1 or 2 in the morning, and we're driving down this farm road, and all of a sudden I see like 4 soldiers and German shepherds sitting in the middle of the road. And I'm thinking like to myself, I'm like, shit, I mean, are they going to kill us or what's going on here, you know?
Right.
And I'm sitting there in the van and I got my hand on the door. I mean, I don't know where I was going, but nobody knew where I was. I'm somewhere in Ukraine, you know. And back then, you know, we didn't have iPhones or we didn't have internet or nothing. So, you know, it's like, you know, I can mail a letter to somebody, I guess. I don't know, you know. But this guy gets out of the van, the driver, and he walks up to the soldiers and he starts arguing with the soldiers. And the next thing I look, he punches one of the soldiers right in the face. And then he goes to the next one and he points right in their nose and gets back in the van. And I go to the interpreter. I go, what was that all about? You know, and he goes, oh, they don't know who he is. You know, he got angry. And right there, I was like, holy crap. I mean, you know, we're with people that have some power, you know?
Yeah.
So the next day, these guys pick me up they picked me up at my hotel. And I don't know, like 4 guys picked me up. They look like Andrew Galata. I mean, they're like 6'4", box haircuts. And I look like a midget, you know, and I'm 6 foot tall, 250 pounds, you know. And they put me in this Ford Taurus, brand new Ford Taurus. And we're driving around Ukraine and people are just getting out of the way. And these guys don't care. They're driving on the sidewalk. If the red light's there, they're going through it. They don't care. And, you know, we're cruising through town and we get to this guy's office and, you know, he's got guards like in front of the office and everything. And I walk into the building and they take me up the stairs and like, we're walking down this hallway and I'm like trying to look over these guys and, you know, cause, you know, like, and you know how in Europe, you know, like the lights don't go on until you walk by the lights. They always got those lights that,
Yeah.
you know, all of a sudden everything's dark and then pop, the light goes on, but you still can't see what's down the hallway. Then pop, you know, the light goes on. So we're walking down this hallway and all of a sudden we stop. And I'm like thinking like, why are we stopping? We're like in the middle of the hallway. And the guy turns around and he like grabs the wall and pushes it in and opens like the wall and there's a metal door there. And he goes, opens the door, he flips the light on, he goes, please go, you know, go in. So I go in and I'm sitting there. I got like there was 3 chairs, 1 for me and 2 on the other side. And I sit down in the chair and I'm like looking around and the whole room's mirrored. I mean, the whole room from top to bottom, it's all mirrors. So I'm sitting in this room and next thing you know, like the wall like moves open and here comes the president and his interpreter. And they sat down, they go, what is your business? And this was back in 1995, you know, so I'm like, well, my business is, you know, you've seen the UFC. And what I want to do is put on a cage match, you know, with you guys, you know, but we'll call it Russia versus the United States, World War III. And at that time, I already talked to Showtime about, you know, being a partner in it. And they were all in. I talked to their executives. I gave them a proposal, you know, and I flew out there to get the deal done. And, you know, the deal never got done. You know, they ended up going with, you know, the Black Dragon and, you know, because I think the Black Dragon owned the UFC like UFC 5 and 6 or 7 and 8 or something like that in that time.
Right.
And, you know, when I went there, you know, they were asking me questions and they said, you know, do you know Mike Tyson? And I said, no, I don't know Mike Tyson. You know, I know of Mike Tyson, but I don't know him personally. And he was like, okay. They go, do you know Eddie Murphy? And I said, no, I don't know Eddie Murphy. And I said, okay. And they said, you know Seika the porn star? I said, no, I don't know Seika either. You know, I said, you know, I go, listen, I don't know these celebrities that you're asking me about, but what I have here is a contract that will make us a lot of money if we do this fight because it will go on Showtime and we'll be partners with Showtime and we'll make a ton of money. Right. And I said, okay, you know, let's think about it and everything. And I left there and I never got the deal done. They ended up going with, you know, Ron Van Cleef, I think it was, the Black Dragon and somebody else. And they never lived up to what they said they were going to do. And there were some things that happened. They tried to, from what I understood, because, you know, they, what happened was, you know, they tried to steal the master tape and get out of the country. And from what I understand, one of the guys got beat up very bad and put on a plane.
The Americans tried to steal the master tape?
Yeah.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah. And, you know, because the FBI called some of my friends to see if I had anything to do with it. And I was like, God. I don't know anything, man. You know, I went to Ukraine, we fought, we got paid. That's all. You know what I'm saying? We had nothing to do with what happened. But
wow, this is crazy.
Yeah, it was pretty. That was the first overseas trip I ever went on, and there's been many crazy things. Like I said, Portugal when we lost that fight, and I thought the Spetsnaz were going to kill me. I mean, it seems like every year there's something. But
yeah,
but it's a lot better now. WAKO especially is 100% better than what it was 15 years ago because of the Olympic recognition and everything. Everything is computerized. The officials are open. The scoring is open. You can see who's doing bad, who's doing good. I mean, we still had a tournament. I think it was 2015 when we were fighting the world champion. Nate Richardson was fighting him out of Minnesota. And it was a very close fight. One judge had it 2-0. One judge had it for us 1-0, and the other judge had it 11-0. And I was like, what is this guy seeing? Then I look at it. Yeah. The guy's from Kazakhstan, and I've had this guy a couple times before that have just totally jacked us. So I called the head official over, who's a Russian. His name is Vadim. He's a very good guy. Very, to me, he's very honest in the referee and the officiating. And I asked Vadim, I said, look at this guy. I go, it ain't going to change our score, but this guy should be judging. I go, the guy scored 11 points the other way. I mean, I don't know what the hell this guy's looking at. So Vadim calls him over and asks him to explain himself. And then he goes, you know what? Take your stuff and go sit in the stands. He kicked him out.
Wow.
And the next day, and I was waving to him up there, saying, hey, remember me? You dumbass. But the next day he came back. He had his suit and tie on, was walking in. And Vadim said, you go back in the stands.
Wow.
So,
wow.
I don't know. I appreciate that. And I don't mind losing as long as it's fair. And, I definitely will make a stand if I don't believe, we've been wronged. But, and some people make mistakes, but I feel like the judging and the scoring and everything with WAKO has gotten 100% better than what it was.
Awesome. That's awesome.
And there's some accountability now. And, and like I said, I don't mind losing because then we just got to get better. We got to get tougher. We got to get our training camps more. We got to get more sparring. We got to just keep developing.
Hey, yeah. So Rob, explain just what is going on with the WAKO right now, and what. Again, I know for us, for point fighting and for the tatami, there's a USA Nationals in February, right?
Right. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So
and what's your next event?
Our next event is also in February. It'll be February 26th, 27th, 28th in Nashville, and that'll be the selection for the U.S. team. And then we're having it in February, so we have enough time to fundraise. And help some of the athletes get to Russia. There's 6 weight divisions in Russia that will qualify for the World Games. On the men's side, it'll be 140 pounds, 165 pounds, and heavyweight. And on the women's side, it'll be 115 pounds, 132 pounds, and 154 pounds. Right now, I feel like our women's side, can do very well. Our men's side, we have young guys, and I'm hoping that maybe we get some more guys signing up, get some pros in there, because, overseas, it's like the pros here, they don't understand that getting more competition is going to help them.
Yeah.
And you can see what happened in Glory. All the Europeans, basically were walking through a lot of the Americans. And it was hard for Americans to crack the top 10. And a lot of it's because over there, those guys will fight in WAKO. They'll fight 3-round fights with pads. And then, then they'll go fight a pro fight somewhere. And they'll fight on their national team. And then they'll fight, they'll fight in Glory or they'll fight in other organizations, their promotions over there. And they're getting a lot of fights. We're just not getting enough fights. And we're not getting enough competition to get our guys to be able to compete that way. And I actually sat down with Glory about 2 years ago and met with the CEO. and we talked about, you know, WAKO being the grassroots for them.
For them. Yeah.
Yeah. And what I wanted to do with them is I wanted to try to get Americans. I wanted to take our American team, our 5 or 6 best guys, and, you know, we can bring them overseas to WAKO. There's tournaments every weekend in Greece or Turkey or wherever, and get them fighting, and then give them back to glory. You know, let them go fight 3-round padded fights. You know, look at 2 or 3 fights in a weekend. You know, help fund that, and then you can have them back. You know, fight professional, because, you know, right now with WAKO, I take pros and amateurs. I don't care if you're pro or amateur. I just want the best fighter.
Right.
And some of our best fighters are amateurs because they've had a lot of amateur experience, and some of our best guys are pros because they've been around the game for a long time.
Yeah.
You know, but so that's a little different than what a lot of organizations are doing. But.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. And so, hold on one second. Let me make sure that's right. Who are some of the notable names, you know, that maybe people would recognize? Because, like, I know for me, when I went to do my WKA world title, Dwayne Ludwin was there as well, and he won his the same year. Who were some of the ones? I know Ben Stewart was on here, and he talked about winning his world title at the same time as Stephen Thompson.
Mm-hmm.
So who are some notable names maybe?
Well, you know, Stephen Thompson was a gold medalist in WAKO. You know, Caleb Plant is fighting this weekend for the world boxing title. Caleb fought for us a couple times, I think. I know he was in Italy on our junior team. Nathan Key, you know, Nathan Key was a good fighter. He won 2 silver medals for us. And, you know, he won the IKF, I think, 5 or 6 times.
Okay.
Omari Boyd, you know, Omari Boyd fought for us. And, you know, he got the bronze medal in the World Games. You know, Caitlin Young fought for us. You know, I think she knocked out Misha Tate, and, you know, she's, you know, a really good fighter. And, you know, as far as the women go, you know, Amanda Ziblski has now picked up her mantle. She won the silver medal in Bosnia. And, you know, she's got over 30 wins now as a fighter. Anna Crutchfield will be fighting for us. You know, Anna was, I think, runner-up in USA Boxing. There's probably some others. I know that, you know, Troy Jones fought for us in the Pan Americans. You know, Troy went to, I think he cracked the top 10 in glory, you know, just recently. You know, we haven't had a lot of guys, you know, but we've had some really good guys, you know, fight for us. But I think right now we have the most momentum that we've ever had. I mean, you know, like I said, back in the day, we were lucky to bring, you know, 3, 4, 5 fighters over to kickbox. And, you know, 2019, we had 23, you know, and I think this next time we'll have maybe over 30 go into Russia.
That's amazing. That's awesome.
So, and they're just going to get better because they come back. All those fighters, a lot of those fighters that went to Bosnia are in our national tournament this year. So they've had 2 years of knowledge and training, and they're going to be better, you know, and that's what we need. We need to get them over there when they're young. We need to give them 4 or 5 years to develop. And then, you know, my eventual goal is to get Team USA on TV and getting us fighting, you know, just like the hockey players did back in 1980 when they, you know, beat the Russians. You know, that's what I want to do with Team USA.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome.
So Rob, what's like the next step? How does somebody get involved, whether it's WAKO, kickboxing, or tatami, that they're like, all right, let me try this thing?
I would say, you know, you have to go to the national championships, you know, become a coach. We're going to be starting a coaching standards for both tatami and ring sport, you know, so we're going to be opening it up so people can get their coaching license through WAKO, you know, and that tatami will start this year with that. And I will definitely let you guys know when it's available. And that, in order to be a coach, you're going to have athletes that compete. You know, it's not just for anyone that wants to say they're a coach. You know, You got to be actively coaching and being involved in the sport. But we're going to start that. I would say going to, you know, the national championships in February in Kansas City, you know, trying to make the team. I know, like, you know, there's got to be spots open in, like, continuous. You know, it seems like we never have a full team. I know Kick Light, last year, I brought a bunch of fighters to compete and kick light, and we just kind of went there because we needed some sparring, but we didn't have anyone to fight, so, I know
so in February in Kansas City, national championship in February.
I believe so. Yes.
Yeah, that's for tatami, Alex.
Yep.
Right.
And ours is 2 weeks after that for the ring sports. And what that does for us, it gives us opportunity to really get the team together, because I want to promote both teams. I want to get them on the website. I want to get team training camps. Last year, what really helped us is I did two training camps. We had over 50 fighters in, and those 50 fighters got to spar. They got to train. They got to exchange ideas. I had maybe 6 coaches that were there from around the country that all do different things. Muay Thai, some do point fighting, some do, they teach in different aspects of of the sport. And
awesome.
a lot of kickboxers, if they've trained with you, Alex, they can see how you kick. I mean, there's a lot of guys that don't throw hook kicks or axe kicks or things like that. They're so focused on throwing that hard round kick, that they miss some of the other kicks that they could be using. So exposing those guys, those techniques, the spinning hook kick is now, it's getting bigger, but there's a lot of guys that don't start out with the spinning hook kick, or learn that unless you had a karate background, so there's a lot of things that we need to still get better on, but getting more coaches involved, getting more camps. Eventually what I'm going to do is I'd like to set the United States into 4 regions, start doing the regional tournaments,
awesome.
Then get a national team, and really make it where, you have to win through the region, you have to win at nationals. And hopefully by next year we'll implement that.
That's awesome. Yeah, and I think, Rob, too, like, people were getting more from other realms, too. Like, I think the point fighters are going to go to the kickboxing as well. And some of the kickboxing are going to go and do kick light or continuous,
Right. Yeah,
so
the kick light is it's great for us because it's like K1 development. It's giving us the opportunity to not spar hard, work on our footwork, our angles, work on our combinations, and not get your head knocked off.
Right.
The other thing it's great for us too is because we don't have to be, it's not regulated. So like, we had 50 fighters at Duke's tournament.
Right.
And everybody had a great time. Not one injury. I think we had one bloody nose out of 50 fighters, and everybody enjoyed it. I didn't have one complaint. Everybody was happy. They got a couple matches, and it was great. Afterwards, I brought 12 fighters, and we all went out to eat afterwards. Had a great team, camaraderie, and we got to learn. We got to see how Anthony Pettis' guys fight. How Duke's guys fight.
Right.
I mean, it was it was good. It was good to exchange ideas.
So, Rob, before we wrap, we always end the show this way, where we let our guests, give a voicemail out to the world. Like, all right, you're going to say something to the rest of the world, because everybody across the world listens to our pod, right? So, if you're going to send something out, you want to tell something to the martial arts world, what would you say?
I would just say, wait. And you're going to see what happens to Team USA in the next couple of years. I'm very excited where we're going to be. We just launched, we're launching it, our own sport network on Roku. And, I think it's going to help us, get additional funds. It's going to help us. It's going to help us get our athletes out there to the public, get our events out to the public. And I'm so excited about the way things are going. So watch out for Team USA. That's my goal.
Awesome. This has been a fantastic show.
I appreciate it.
Even though we pushed it back a day, insiders, I'm glad you guys still got to be a part of this episode. Rob, this has been fantastic. I'll see you next week.
Okay.
You're going to be back in town next week, right?
Yep.
All right, I'll see you next week. All right.
Awesome.
Hey, Jeff, it was nice meeting you too.
Yes, nice to meet you too. I had a great time talking to you, my friend.
This has been another episode of Inside Scoop with Alex and Jeff. I am Alex Dingman.
I'm Jeff Doss. See you guys next week.